Hi everyone, my name is KenDrift7. Welcome to Crimson Eclipse TV. Today, we're doing a deep dive into Japan Expo 2025, held at the Paris-Nord Villepinte Exhibition Center in France, where three legends of the Dragon Ball universe, Toyotaro, Kazuhiko Torishima, and Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, sat down for a rare and private interview. And after that, I'll be highlighting a fan-made Dragon Ball story that recently ranked #1 in the Sparking Zero community, so be sure to stick around. But first, let's jump into the interview where these icons of the anime industry reflected on Dragon Ball Super and their work with the late, great Akira Toriyama. First, who are these men? Toyotaro is Akira Toriyama's hand-picked successor. Personally mentored by Toriyama, Toyotaro is now the lead author of Dragon Ball Super and continues to carry the torch for the franchise. Kazuhiko Torishima is the legendary editor who helped shape Dragon Ball from the very beginning. He gave Toriyama critical feedback, helped structure the story, and pushed for key decisions, like convincing Toriyama not to make Goku a literal monkey, which led to Goku being a boy with a tail instead. Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru is a veteran character designer, animator, and animation director who worked on Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, GT, Super, and now Daima. His style is so close to Toriyama's that Toriyama himself once mistook Nakatsuru's art for his own. The interview was held privately at the expo. According to the article by Sayuke, no cameras or audio recorders were allowed. This relaxed setting gave these legends of the anime industry the freedom to speak candidly about their careers and the future direction of the Dragon Ball franchise. The original article is posted below for those who want to read it in full. This is a shorter summary of the interview. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into the questions that were asked at the expo and step into this tour de force of anime history. Question 1. Who is your greatest artistic influence? Toyotaro. Dragon Ball was a huge influence, of course, but I also loved Rurouni Kenshin, Slam Dunk, and Hollywood movies like Star Wars and Back to the Future. Artists shouldn't just read manga, you need broader inspiration. Torishima. I never read manga before joining Shueisha. I loved French literature, read all of Stendhal, and even took a break from university to study Proust. My top 3 films are The Godfather, Roman Holiday, Audrey Hepburn is my ideal woman, and 2001, A Space Odyssey. Nakatsuru. I was deeply inspired by Leiji Matsumoto's universe and classics like Castle in the Sky. Eventually, Toriyama became my biggest artistic influence. Question 2. With fewer young readers in Japan, how can shonen manga evolve? Torishima. There will always be children, but the problem is that magazines like Shonen Jump no longer cater to them. Kids don't have access to digital manga. Algorithms feed the same content over and over. It's all starting to look the same, like Starbucks or McDonald's manga. Manga needs unique artistic identity again. Question 3. Is this issue just about kids' manga? Torishima. It affects all manga, but especially children's. Editors say kids can't follow panels. I say their paneling is just hard to read. Toriyama's panels were crystal clear. We need editors who understand film, literature, not just manga. Question 5. What early manga first impressed you? Torishima. I found most early manga boring until I read shoujo titles like The Po Clan and Kaze Takai no Uta. They explored human themes never seen before. That opened my eyes. Question 6. How has Toriyama's passing affected your process? Toyotaro. We had 2 ways of working. Sometimes I wrote stories, and sometimes he did. A lot of ideas already came from me. I think I can continue the story, but it won't be easy. Question 7. Nakatsuru. What was it like replacing Maeda on Z? Nakatsuru. I had already designed some characters before the Buu arc, so I was familiar with the process. It was a challenge I was ready for. Torishima. Maeda was 80% accurate to Toriyama's style. Nakatsuru was 95%. Even Toriyama once saw his art and said, "Wait, did I draw that?" Question 8. Did GT influence your work on Super or Daima? Toyotaro. GT happens after Super, so not story-wise. But I did borrow some visual elements. GT's style, thanks to Nakatsuru, was very Toriyama-like and inspiring. So there you have it, guys. Toyotaro confirmed that GT takes place after Super. That really throws a monkey wrench into things. But honestly, it kinda makes sense. Super Saiyan 4 is now in Dragon Ball Daima, but in that world, it appears a bit different. So is Daima's SSJ4 its own version, specific to that timeline or dimension? Or are we just supposed to ignore the differences in style between Daima and GT? Either way, it means SSJ4 is a future transformation Goku unlocks later in life, but it just looks different because it's a version from the Daima realm. Or perhaps Daima's SSJ4 is a less evolved version, since Goku has bigger, more ape-like hands compared to GT's SSJ4. Also, in Daima, his hair is red, whereas in GT, it's the normal black, which might suggest that GT's SSJ4 is the fully evolved form. That's my theory anyway. Similar to how the false Super Saiyan form in the Lord Slug movie wasn't the fully developed SSJ1 we later saw during the Frieza arc. This is definitely going to puzzle fans for a long time, and it opens the door for the idea that all forms Goku and Vegeta achieve, like Ultra Instinct, are all possible in one continuity. That would put SSJ4 GT above them all. I love that. That's just so cool. Question 9. How do CGI and AI affect Dragon Ball production? Torishima. Digital tools make things easier but more uniform. Toriyama didn't use screen tones. He kept it simple and it worked. Tools are fine, but don't become a slave to them. Toyotaro. Superhero was a great use of CGI, but too much CGI can make Toriyama's soft style look harsh. We need balance. Nakatsuru. If used wisely, CGI and AI could help reduce workload and improve quality. But the tools must serve the vision, not the other way around. Toyotaro, joking. I once asked ChatGPT for story ideas. It was a waste of time. Laughs. Question 10. Is there something to learn from Dragon Ball? Torishima. Number. And that's fine. Like Tom and Jerry, it's fun. You read it, enjoy it, and that's it. Dragon Ball is about character and movement, not lessons. That's why it still sells today. Question 11. Advice for aspiring mangaka. Toyotaro. I was a fan who made Dragon Ball fan manga. That's how I started. Torishima. You need 3 things: study literature, make friends, have the strength to build a world from a blank page. Nakatsuru. Continuing Dr. Slump taught me how difficult this job really is. Question 12. What's the future of Dragon Ball as a franchise? Torishima. If the franchise listens to fans, it will thrive. But if it becomes only about money, it will collapse. Question 13. Why are Goten and Trunks comic relief now? Toyotaro. I love Trunks and gave him 3 focused chapters. I didn't do as well with Goten. I'd like to fix that. Question 14. What's canon in Dragon Ball? Torishima. Toriyama never cared about continuity. He just made stories that fans would enjoy. So, there is no canon. Toyotaro. To me, everything is kind of canon. Even Dragon Ball Online. Wow. For them to actually say there is no canon, that's crazy. I like to think that since Dragon Ball Z introduced other universes, you could say GT is just a different timeline. I mean, this is a made-up world, right? But still, canon and continuity do matter. Without them, you don't really have a solid story. At the same time, it kind of makes sense now. It's confusing for sure, but it also makes the Dragon Ball universe way more fun. It opens the door to all kinds of theories, and that's what keeps Dragon Ball alive. Honestly, it's kind of a clever way to keep the series going forever. Just let fans imagine and debate. And now we know from Torishima that Akira Toriyama himself liked when fans made up their own stories. That's hilarious, because for years fans have been arguing about canon, sometimes fighting over it, and now they're just like, relax, there is no canon. But even with no official timeline, things still need to make some sense, and we, the fans, will always be here trying to put the pieces together. I'm even more curious now about how super-level power-ups like Ultra Instinct could fit into the GT timeline. This is something we'll be exploring and theorizing about for years to come, and honestly, I'm all for it. Question 15. What was it like working with Toriyama? Nakatsuru. We emailed a lot on Daima. It was the first time in 20 years we worked like that. After he passed, I gave everything to honor his vision. Torishima. He hated working, but loved drawing. He'd finish his chapter in a day, then spend the rest of the week fixing up his Jaguar car. He once tested 4,000 colors, then picked the first one. Toyotaro. He once told me, battle scenes are easier to draw, so I start fights quickly. I was shocked. I find those the hardest. Question 16. Who made the Harmony Cells in DBZ? Nakatsuru. They were made by the background and art teams. Check the ending credits for specific names. By the way, Harmony Cells are the people who paint the frames of animation. Okay, so that concludes the article by Sayuke. But there were other interviews that day. Up next is a video interview I found on Facebook. It was conducted in French, so I translated it for you. It's also posted below. This one features Toyotaro himself, recorded live at the event. Let's dive into what was said in this conversation.
Bonjour, France. ですね。普通の一般的な観光、それこそ。
I came here already when I was a student. Back then, I was so happy to see the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, the Louvre Museum, and of course, Notre Dame in person. The fact that France is the second largest consumer of manga after Japan is quite fascinating to me. I appreciate that this culture is so accepted here. The success of Dragon Ball lies in its story, which is simple, in a good way. When there's a fight, there's no need to read a wall of text to understand what's going on. That makes the series accessible to everyone, no matter who you are or where you live in the world. The simplicity of the work is its strength. When I was young, my first encounter with Dragon Ball was through the anime. I wasn't reading the manga yet, but I loved it. Then I bought the V-Jump magazine, which was serializing Dragon Ball. There was a fight scene between Vegeta and Goku, and I became completely hooked. I wanted to draw Dragon Ball. At the time, there were card games, and I drew the main characters from them. I went to the Japanese publisher Shueisha. I started showing them my work, and little by little, I got in touch with Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, and began working with him on the Dragon Ball Super manga in 2015. My favorite character is Granola, because when I drew him and showed him to Akira Toriyama, he immediately said, "Okay, that was amazing. Let's go." I'm also very proud of having created Black Frieza. When Akira Toriyama passed away in 2024, I didn't expect it, and for a while, I felt a bit lost. I didn't really know what to do. There were a lot of messages of comfort on social media. Even though I was close to him, I felt like one of those millions of fans who were heartbroken. For me, Dragon Ball is the #1 manga in the world. I think Dragon Ball should never end. I'm not the only one working on it. It's the power of fans all over the world that makes it possible for this story to continue. As a mangaka, what I want for the future is to keep evolving and always improve, to try different approaches, create funnier manga, and enhance my skills in both drawing and storytelling. That's my goal. I think I want to keep working. Here are my thoughts on this interview. First of all, you've got to love Toyotaro's honesty. In the interview, he openly says that when Akira Toriyama passed, he felt just like one of us, just a fan mourning someone he deeply admired. Man, what a thing to say. You can really feel the sincerity. It makes it so clear why Akira Toriyama chose him. Toyotaro is humble, real, and incredibly dedicated. I'm honestly grateful we have him as the artist continuing Dragon Ball. He's not just talented, he's one of us, and that's just so cool. Okay, let's dive into this fan-made story from Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, the top-rated custom story by Leonx Musha. The battle takes place during the Dragon Ball Super timeline, when Goku and Vegeta are called to help future Trunks in the fight against Goku Black and Zamasu. Here's the custom battle code ID so you can try it out for yourself. Now, without any further ado, let's jump right into it. During the fight with Goku Black, before Shallot and the others could intervene, a wicked being, born from a wicked plan, emerged. Goku Black was battling Vegeta when he burst into laughter. "How do you like that? What happened to your famous primal instinct?" he taunted, mocking Vegeta's pride. Vegeta gritted his teeth. "This is bad. If this keeps up, we'll be toast," he thought. Meanwhile, suddenly, a loud crash echoed as Metal Cooler landed on top of a destroyed building. "Are you trying to embarrass yourself?" Metal Cooler sneered. Not yet. I'm not done," Vegeta shouted, still trying to stand. Vegeta was knocked back hard, and just so happened to land beside Goku. "At this rate, Vegeta will be too weak to move," Goku said between breaths. Metal Cooler raised his arm and shouted, "I'll put an end to your very existence, right here, right now." He produced a Kai Ball, which grew rapidly from the size of a pea to a massive sphere of power.
Leave the room. A waste of my time. Uh-oh! Damn it all!
Vegeta and Goku turned to look at Shallot's severely damaged body. Vegeta, "How could this happen? What on earth?" Goku replied. "Now do you see? Time to die," Goku Black said coldly. "Resistance is futile." Vegeta exploded with Kai energy. "I ain't losing to the likes of you," he roared. He was determined to win. "Less talk, more fighting," Goku shouted. "Come at me, Metal Cooler." Vegeta stepped back into the fight.
Time to finish. How's this? Oh! Why, you? How's this? You've taken this far enough! regret that! You'll regret that! Lend me your energy! It's ready! Let's relive something. See you around.
Goku suddenly wiped the floor with Metal Cooler using a hidden spirit bomb he had kept high above the clouds. He had meant to use it on Goku Black, but Metal Cooler left him no choice. Ha! Ha 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 ha! It worked! Goku laughed, giving a thumbs up to Vegeta and Shallot. Vegeta was shocked. What on earth? He said in disbelief. Then, Zamasu entered the battlefield, and a new fight began. He laughed with an evil grin. Hey, 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 you can't stop us. Don't get cocky. Our fight's not over yet, Goku Black added. Go on, hit me with as many Kamehameha waves as you've got. It only makes me stronger. Goku looked to Vegeta and Shallot. We must put an end to Goku Black's rampage, he shouted as his power surged.
Kept you waiting, huh? Let's do this already. If I don't, who will? Bring it back! To power. My nemesis.
Goku's power was too low to even go super, and Goku Black was loving every second of it. He laughed out loud. Things were looking bleak for our heroes. After Goku was knocked down, Vegeta rushed in, only for Zamasu to suddenly kick Vegeta into a pile of building rubble. Now do you see? Zamasu taunted. Goku Black smirked and said, You thought you could win? Give me a break. Do you understand now? There's no way you can win. You won't be laughing much longer. Suddenly, Shallot rushed in for an attack and shouted, I ain't losing to the likes of you. Goku Black saw him coming and sneered, You're as stubborn as a cockroach, mocking him as Shallot lunged forward.
Leave the ranker ready! I'm ending this right now!
After Shallot knocked Goku Black to the ground, Zamasu leapt in for his own attack. What? Nobody outflanks me. My genius is the greatest in the entire universe. Well, fight me then. A voice spoke, and it turned out to be Future Trunks. Future Trunks shouted, Shallot, I'll leave Goku Black to you. Shallot snapped back, What do you want? Ugh, you're such a pain. Meanwhile, Dabura and Jiren were watching the fight from the sidelines. Dabura turned to Jiren and said, You there? It's up to you to settle this. Jiren laughed out loud, just as Tapion appeared out of nowhere, launching his own surprise attack. Dabura spotted him, and in a split second, the two were clashing in the sky. The time has come for you to face me, Dabura, Tapion declared. Dabura snarled back, What are you waiting for? While Tapion took on Dabura, Shallot engaged Jiren. After a brutal blow from Jiren knocked Shallot to the ground, Jiren asked coldly, Did I go too far? Trunks witnessed Shallot's fall and clenched his fists. How could this happen? They're truly in a class of their own, he thought. Then he shouted, Don't get cocky, our fight's not over yet. Suddenly, Trunks erupted with Kai energy and transformed into a Super Saiyan.
I'm filled with determination. Here we go, everyone! Feel it. Keep it coming, guys. Share your power with me.
In one swift motion, Trunks defeated Jiren with his ultimate attack, showing once again that a Saiyan warrior stands in the way. What fate will humanity meet from here? Goku Black rose again and prepared a new attack. But Vegeta stepped back into the fight, surprising everyone by showing his Super Saiyan 4 form. Shallot, bruised and battered, muttered through clenched teeth, "I'll get stronger. Just you wait and see. I can fight too. I won't let the other universes down next time on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Warped Sense of Justice." Don't miss it. And that wraps up today's custom story. In this episode, we covered the big interviews from Japan Expo in Paris, held at the Noord-Villepinte Exhibition Center, where 3 legends of Dragon Ball sat down to answer some truly exciting questions. What did you think of their answers? Let me know in the comments. We also featured the fan-made custom story by Leonx Musha, titled Shallot's Struggle, an intense and creative ride. If you've got any custom jobs in Sparking Zero, drop your codes in the comments below. I'd love to check them out, and if they stand out, you might see yours featured in a future video. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching Crimson Eclipse TV. See you next time. Bye.